Hello my friends, welcome to the Dragon Eye Box Make and Take. So this week we are making this really fun little box. It's like a little treat box, but there's a dragon eye on the front, and on the inside it has this little sentiment that says, I, like an eyeball, hope your fall is happy. It's such a fun little box. I just love it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. We are going to be using hot glue, so now would be a great time to plug in your hot glue gun because you're going to need it. All right. So what we have here are all these little bits and pieces. You've got some fall leaves, this is a little circle which we're going to use for our dragon eye. It's going to be awesome. There's this little tiny bag of gold dust. Don't open this yet. We're going to come back to it, but just hold on to that. And then we have our little sentiment that says, I hope your fall is happy, which will go on the inside of our box. All right, so what we're going to do first here is we are going to take our box and we're going to fold it. These right here, all these little dash marks, those are actually called score lines. And so what you're going to do is you're going to fold on the score lines all the way down the box. All right, and we're folding, we're folding, we're folding. All right, so on this long end here, whoops, I missed one. You're going to take this and this little tab right here, you're actually going to put glue on. I'm going to recommend white glue. You can use double-sided tape, but white glue would be best. I have my little fine line applicator here that is perfect for applying a small amount of white glue. I find that people tend to use way too much glue when they're gluing, and then that's when the warping happens on your paper. So if you use a small amount, the glue dries right away, which is great. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and glue that tab in place. If you wanna know if you've done it right, you can always take your box and fold it flat, and you should press flat right there on that little tab, and when you pop that box up, it will have formed your box shape. All right, you can decide which is going to be the top and which is the bottom. I'm going to decide that this is the bottom here, so since it's the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and just glue my box closed. You don't have to glue your box closed if you don't want to, but I'm going to because I don't want it to fall apart. And I'm going to take my little tab and just tuck it in there, and that, once that glue dries, that will secure the box closed. Okay, now for the top. So this is where we're going to be decorating our dragon eye, which is going to be awesome. But on the inside of the box lid is where I'm going to put the sentiment that says, I hope your fall is happy. My thought with this was that like maybe you would have like a little treat for someone for fall and you want to just make them a little happy time. Maybe it's a tiny little present that you want to give someone, but something that just makes them smile. All right, so now that we have our little box created, we're going to tuck that to the side along with our gold powder. We're going to come back to that. All right, now what we're going to do is make our dragon eye itself. So you're going to need a black pen. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of draw this kind of slit looking shape for the eye, and it kind of looks like a teardrop but pointy on the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to draw that right in the center of my orange dot. That's what we're going for there. Hopefully you guys can see that. That's what we're aiming for. All right, now we're going to use the hot glue. At this point it should be nice and hot and ready for us if you plugged it in when I said to plug it in. So I'm going to grab my hot glue gun here. I'm going to put a dollop of hot glue right onto the center of that dragon eye, or right onto that dot. And I have a nice big dollop of hot glue, and I'm going to take my flat marble here and press it right on top, and that's going to make it look just like a dragon eye. I know in the video here it does not quite look like that because you guys are looking from up above, but trust me, if you are here in person making it, it looks awesome. All right. Now, I'm going to start decorating the top of my box. I'm just going to close my box. I'm not gluing it shut. I just want it to be flat so I can decorate. So I'm going to kind of start doing my little layout here. I have this little bag of moss. It has some, I think, 3 or 4 different kinds of moss in it. Oh, these little bags don't always like to open for me, so I'm just going to trim that top off there. All right, so now we have all of our bits of moss. So I like to sometimes like do like a little layout before I glue it on. I'm like, oh, it might look like this. If you are working on a craft mat of some kind, this will just peel right off. If you are working on a surface where the hot glue has bonded to it, you might need to take a moment and get that glue removed from your surface because hot glue should not be stuck to a table. We don't want that. All right, so now I'm going to kind of think about like, oh, I want some moss, and I want this kind of stringy looking moss. I don't think I'm probably going to use all the moss I have here, but I'm probably going to use those kind of red and purple tones because I think those look the spookiest. And then I have my little dragon eye. Yes, that's what it's going to look like. I kind of want it to look a little bit like maybe like a dragon eye is peeking out from like a little fall forest. Okay, so now I'm going to use my hot glue. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of hot glue where I want my items to be, thinking about my little layout here. So I'm going to put my one leaf there. I'm going to put my other leaf kind of next to it. I'm going to squirt out some more hot glue. I'm not really too worried about being messy with the hot glue because you'll see in just a little bit, we're going to use the gold powder to cover up any excess hot glue that you might be seeing. So I'm just going to kind of press this down. If you're worried about burning your fingers, which is a legitimate concern, you can use like a little skewer or a stick to kind of move that moss and press it onto that hot glue so that way you don't accidentally burn yourself. I know sometimes it can get a little stringy, but I have found that a skewer works great for that. All right, once you have all of your moss in place and you're pretty pleased with how that looks, then you're going to do another little dollop of hot glue, and this is going to glue our dragon eye in place. We're going to go ahead and just stick that on. Yes, I am loving it so far. All right, now my excess moss, I'm going to go ahead and put that back into the little bag because I'll probably use that for another project. You guys know me and my moss. I love moss. I love using it in projects. It looks amazing. All right, so now we're going to get our gold dust ready, and you're also going to need a little paintbrush. So I'm a paintbrush. I'm using a synthetic brush, which is a soft brush, versus a natural fiber, which is the scratchy ones. A synthetic brush is going to be best for applying a small amount of the gold powder. All right, so we are going to now apply a whole bunch of hot glue all around the dragon eye. So wherever the hot glue is, that is where we're going to be applying our gold dust. So just kind of keep in mind that it doesn't really matter how much you put down, but maybe don't cover the entire box, because I don't know that I sent you with enough gold dust to cover the entire box, but I sent you with quite a bit. So I'm going to kind of, I love this kind of drippy look. I think it looks really cool. I'm going to make it look even more drippy because I just think it's awesome. I might even do like a little bit of drippy. Oh no, I can't do drippies down the side. Maybe I'll do a little drippy over here too, because I just love the way that looks. I'm doing like some little dollops of hot glue kind of here and there because I just think that looks great. All right, so we're gonna let this completely dry, which I know just seems crazy, but you're like, Ellie, we're applying that gold dust. The thing about the gold dust, which is mica powder actually, is that it will bond to hot glue even after the hot glue has dried, which is really, honestly, quite amazing. So I'm just gonna kind of take a moment and kind of clean up my space while I wait for that glue to dry. We are gonna take all of these little excess pieces, I'm gonna toss those, and of course I'm gonna make sure with my glue I put the lid back on my white glue so that doesn't dry out. We just got these little fine line applicators in and I love them. They are great for applying a small amount of glue. If you are ever working and wanting to do this project that we're talking about with the mica powder on the hot glue at home, my tip for you is that you want to wait 1 minute, almost 1 minute exactly, for the hot glue to dry. You can blow on it a little bit if you need it to dry a little bit faster, but the hot glue at that point will harden so that it won't become sticky or stick to a bunch of stuff, but it is dry enough that it will still hold the mica powder in place, which is really awesome. Okay, so now that I've kind of cleaned up my little space, this should be the perfect timing. Yes, it is perfect. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to take my little bag of dust. We're not going to pour this out because it is going to make a huge disasterly mess. So what we're going to do is, I know it seems like there's hardly any dust in there, but there's actually the perfect amount. You're just going to apply a little bit onto the tip of our little paintbrush here. If you're watching and you're like, I don't have this and I don't know what mica powder is, it's this stuff. I don't know if you can even see how my hand is a little bit metallic. Mica actually appears naturally in the environment. Sometimes if you're at the beach, you'll see a rock and it has some what looks like glitter on it. That's mica. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna gently apply the mica onto that hot glue, and you can see it's already becoming looking like molten lava. It is so much fun. Oh my gosh, I just love mica powder. I love it. And if you are applying some of this and it gets a little bit into the moss, honestly, that's totally fine because I think it looks really, really cool. All right, and now we're just going to apply this kind of all around here. If you're working in a really warm environment, it might take a little bit longer for that hot glue to dry, but it should be dry enough for you to apply your mica powder and should stick to it no problem. Yes, oh my gosh, this looks great. All right, so just kind of brush that all around. And then that is it. Oh my gosh, it looks so awesome. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. Look at that awesome dragon eye, you guys. Okay, now the last and final step, the last thing I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take a black pen. Now I don't really have a whole lot of space to show you this, so I'm gonna do it on the side here. I'm gonna do little dot groupings, which is a big dot and a couple little dots, a big dot and a few little dots. I'm just gonna kind of put like some dots and little dot groupings kind of all over, and that just kind of makes my box look a little bit more interesting and not so boring. And if you're wondering what those dot groupings are, it almost looks like little freckles. If you're, kind of trying to think of something that it kind of compares to. And I mostly want to make sure that I'm doing them on the brown part of the box that's exposed here underneath that dragon eye. All right, now if we did everything correctly, we should be able to open up our box. So let's try it out. Yes! Ta-da! And it says, I hope your fall is happy. Oh, what a perfect little fall treat box. I'm so excited. All right, friends, I hope you had lots of fun. I'll see you guys super soon. Bye-bye.